Hello everyone and welcome to Ferrigno Freedom channel. My name is Dante Ferrigno and I have been doing a carnivore diet now known as the lion diet for the past 4 years and 4 months. And I did it to start dealing with some gut issues I was having known as leaky gut. It was causing me all kind of pains and problems. It was causing me all kind of brain fog and depression and all types of things that I never thought I could be able to relieve by changing the way I eat. But it has done that. It's also helped me lose close to 100 pounds. And it's just amazing. I have a whole new life because of a carnivore way of eating. So today I thought I would talk to you guys about a thing that sometimes people ask me about is why are your steaks always so thick? Why do you always get these 3-finger thick New York strip steaks and these 1.5-inch ribeye steaks? Sometimes I get 1.25 inches. I kind of go back and forth between them because I'm trying to make them last longer. But really, when it comes right down to it, especially now that my wife is a carnivore, the thicker the better, because then we can cook one big steak, split it, have that, and then we can do our 2 meal a day, and then we can have burger later, or we can have another steak later. Really kinds of depends on the economics right now. It seems like it's been really hard to get good steak at a decent price. So I've been eating a little bit less steak than lately and a little bit more burger than lately. But I'd love to see what the professionals say about cutting steak. Because I know when I send my wife to the store or my mother-in-law goes to the store and I tell them, get the whole thing and have them cut it for you, they never know how thick to get it cut. And I'm so afraid they're going to come home with these 1/2 inch thick or 1 inch thick steaks because it is so hard to get that beautiful crust on the outside and get that juiciness on the inside when they're too thin. So that's one of the reasons why I recommend getting them thicker. But let's get serious about how thick a steak should be cut, and we're going to take a look at two of the best, the bearded butchers.
Thickness of steaks. All right, so let's just get this rib section prepped. So the plan is to cut 5 total steaks off this rib section, and we're going to start at 1/2 inch thick. So we're going to go 1/2 inch, 1 inch. We're going to go 1.5 inches and 2, and then we're going to cut one at my favorite thickness. So you're just going to have to wait around and see what that is. And then when we grill these, we're going to show you the time temp intervals that it takes to grill each one to a nice medium rare. So let's get this fat cap off of here. Remember, that's not the spinalis. We wouldn't remove the spinalis. That's the best part of the ribeye. Get the yellow cord off there. And I already know this beef's gonna be amazing with all that gorgeous marbling in there. Next step is to get these back ribs off of here. Keep it nice and tight to those bones. I know a lot of people have opinions on thicknesses of steak, so I'm excited to read down through the comments and see what you all think of, give your opinion on which one you like best. So it's going to be interesting to hear. During our custom meat processing days, we had a lot of people that would request their entire half of a beef or whole beef cut into 1/2 inch thick steaks. So keep in mind that custom processing, the thinner the steak, the more you're going to get. So just keep that in mind. If you requested 1/2 inch steaks, which those aren't, in my opinion, the best thickness to choose, but if that's what you choose, you're entitled to your opinion. If you choose that one time and you all of a sudden you get 25 ribeyes, and then the next time you go to give your cutting order and you choose 1 inch thick steak, just remember you're going to get half as many. So I know that sounds silly that I have to clear that up, but a lot of people do get confused by that. So we're going to start down here at this end of the ribeye.
I just want to point out real quick how much I love watching somebody who's proficient at what they do work. And he made cutting that steak into ribeyes look like the easiest thing in the world. It's just something that I'm not used to doing. I'm used to letting the butcher cut it for me. But boy, did he make that look easy. As far as what he said about the quantity and the thickness, I think that really depends on what you're doing. I mean, if you're cooking for a bunch of people and they're having a bunch of side dishes with it, then you might not want as thick of a steak because it is going to, fill them up too much. I know when I used to work in restaurants, people were like 8 ounces, 6 ounces, that's enough for me. I thought, man, that's not even an appetizer for me to get started. But that's because the only thing I eat is meat. So if I'm going to have a steak, if I'm going to have, say, a 1 meal a day situation, which we call OMAD in the carnivore community, that 1 meal a day type of thing, 2 pounds is a perfect cut. And when I get those New York strip steaks cut into that 3-finger thick cut, they come out almost 2 pounds every time. But one of the key things on a carnivore diet is making sure you are eating enough. So that's one of the other reasons that I like to get my steaks cut really thick, is that it makes it easy just to have one steak to cook and we've got a meal. Or now that my wife has joined me on a carnivore diet, the thicker the better, because now we can cut it in half and we both have a meal. And we're kind of doing 2 meals a day on average anyway. So it works out good.
Section that was the closest to the chuck. So just you got all that gorgeous marbling, you have that spinalis in there. The very first steak we're going to start with is going to be 2 inches thick. So I actually start at 1 on the ruler and then I just go to 3. It's easier to read because our ruler's been around a while. So we're going to go 2 inches thick. Look at that gorgeous steak. Man. So 2 inches.
That's like a ribeye roast.
I know, that's amazing. Now we're going to go down to 1.5 inches. So there's your 1.5 inches. Another just absolutely gorgeous steak. Now we're going to go down to 1 inch. So there's your 1 inch thick steak. Now we're going to go with 1/2 inch. It's actually pretty difficult to cut a 1/2 inch thick steak with a knife. You could do it on a slicer, but just because they're so darn thin. So there's your 1/2 inch thick. Now I'm going to cut my favorite thickness of steak, which is the most common, and that is 1.25 inches. So when we cut for our retail store, they're almost all cut 1.25 inches thick. That, in my opinion, is a perfect thickness, just an absolutely gorgeous steak. We're going to put that one right here. Actually, let's just move this one in the lineup, the stair step, because it's just going to be slightly less than 1.5 inches. This is going to be a fun one. So the next step is get the grill fired up and see how these compare when they cook. Now it's up to Scott to do the cooking, so the pressure's on, bro.
I'm gonna put a steak on every 5 minutes, and I think we'll be able to get them all done about the same time. I'm going for 20 minutes on the 2 inch, 15 minutes on the 1.5 inch, like 12.5 minutes on the 1 1/4, 10 minutes on the 1 inch, and just 5 minutes on the 1/2 inch. So we'll see how we do. We want to try to get them all done at the same time. One of the first things to point out about a nice thick steak is you have a lot more coverage area to put the spice on. So you can be super liberal with your spice and you won't overdo it, and you can do all the sides. It's just really fun to have a big one like that. And then obviously when we get down to the thinnest one, we have to be cautious we don't over season it because it has a lot less surface area. These steaks have been out and rested for a good half hour. Don't they look amazing? That marbling.
The smell.
Scott's hot tip. Doesn't your mouth start to water?
Yeah.
You know what I like to do? I love to season steaks outside of the grill. So yeah, I just go a little lighter as we get down to these thinner steaks so we don't overdo it with the seasoning. And I know you might be thinking that I'm overdoing it now, or good steaks don't need seasoning, but this is literally a salt, pepper, paprika, garlic, onion powder base, so it's a pretty universal spice.
You know, when it comes to seasoning, it's something that I can't do because of the gut issues, because they just cause me to have gut flare-ups and digestive problems. But You know, for most carnivores, seasoning is excellent. And I say, if that's what you want, then go for it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you like to have your steaks cooked? If you like to have them cooked with a lot of seasoning or marinated, let me know in the comments. I personally like to cook them only with salt. Craving the perfect steak? With Schwenk grills, you get mouthwatering flavor in minutes. Schwenk's infrared technology cooks fast, locks in juices, and delivers unbeatable taste. Proudly handcrafted in Augusta, Georgia, Schwenk grills are built to make every bite unforgettable. Schwenk grills, American made, steak perfected. Use my link in the description to order yours now, and you get a free grill cover to boot. Now, back to the video. Let's jump back in where we left off. Didn't that look good, by the way? Look at that. Look at that. It's just so crispy on the outside. I'll show you the inside in a moment.
All right. Let's get the big doggy on there. Get to cooking. We're at, right now we're riding at just about 375 on the green egg. We're going to be direct over our charcoal here. 5 minutes in, and the next steak is going on the grill. Keep on rolling. Oh, baby. I'm flipping these steaks every 2.5 minutes, and so we're down to the 12.5 minute mark. I'm gonna go ahead and add my 1.25 inches. All right, we're at the 10-minute mark. Oh. Okie doke. So we're 15 minutes in. I'm gonna go ahead and add my last steak. I know this one's not gonna take long at all, but I think we're close. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's a lot going on in here with all these steaks. My watch is buzzing. A lot of goodness going on. Oh yeah, we're coming off. That's our 1.5 inches. That's our 2 inch. It's our 1.25 inches. What do you think, Seth?
Man, those look great.
That's our 1 inch.
Wow.
Putting the final touches. I'm actually struggling the most with this. Yeah, this little sucker right here. That's why we don't like thin steaks so much. That's the half inch. Whew. Okay, so the timing I think worked out darn near perfect.
You want to know what's interesting as I'm looking at them? Look at the sear, because you were able to get a better sear
stay
on
there
the thicker
longer.
ones. This, because the half inch barely has any sear at all, but it was at temp, so you had to pull it. That's pretty interesting.
So we went exactly 20 minutes, flipping every 2.5 minutes on the 2 inch thick steak. Exactly 15 minutes on the 1.5 inches. Exactly 12.5 minutes on the 1.25 inch. Exactly 10 minutes on the 1 inch thick. And 5 minutes on the half inch thick. Let's see what our temps are running at. Okay, 115, 117, 118. It's going to be coming up a little bit on that 2 inch thick one.
By the time you let
See
those
that?
rest,
About the exact same. Just a touch warmer on our 1.25 inches. Getting warmer yet on our 1 inch. See, that's probably the biggest difficulty, is not overcooking thinner steaks. So our thinnest steak is definitely our hottest steak. But the fun part is that we get to let these rest for a few minutes, and then we get to try them up.
I'm jealous of how well they can cook on a charcoal grill or a wood grill like they're doing with that green egg. Those things, I always wind up getting flare-ups and overcooking and getting too much char on them. That's one of the reasons I like the Schwenk grill, which is a infrared grill. It cooks up to 1500 degrees, and it does steaks super fast, and it gets them really crispy on the outside and super juicy on the inside. They come out almost rare on the inside, whereas it just depends on how long you leave them in when you lower them at a certain level and such. But I have really enjoyed that Schwenk grill. I've never been a griller. I've never been good at grilling. So, it's nice to see how they break it down with how you do this if you're doing different size steaks. So I'm really enjoying this, and I'm ready to bite into this steak. This steak is not as thick as I normally would like. This is one of the smaller pieces that I had. It's about 2 inches thick, but when it comes to New York strip steak, like I say, I usually like them a little thicker than that. And we'll see how this one came out in just a moment, but let's see how theirs came out.
Thanks for cooking, Scott.
Thanks for cutting, Seth.
Absolutely. It's time to test the chef's skills. You ready for this?
Test the butcher skills with the ruler.
Right down through the center of all these steaks.
And just as a matter of record, the camera always plays with the color a little bit.
It does, especially in this building that we're in. Oh, baby.
But
Man,
I think that looks pretty stellar.
nice work.
Thanks.
Wow.
Oh,
Now, excellent work. It's time for a bite. How hungry are you?
Well, I'm hungry now, but I bet you we get down to the end of this line, I won't be nearly as hungry.
Grab yourself a sliver.
Cheers.
Cooked to perfection. Cheers.
Thank you. Cut to perfection.
real quick, here's how this one came out. And the same thing with my camera. I'm using an iPhone 14 for camera, so it's not the best in the world, but man, does that look good or what? Oh man, I can't wait to have my lunch here.
That's simply to die for. Oh. Wow.
Juicy, tender, bursting with flavor.
Wow, you did such a good job cooking these, Scott. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of difference in flavor and how they were cooked.
How many are we gonna get out of this one, Seth?
So good. I can tell you, when it comes to steak, I love a nice medium rare, but I can also tell you that I love a nice crust. So I know I'm going to lean towards the slightly thicker ones because of that crust.
Well, and you have your 1.25 inch favorite there, you know, too.
Yeah, and if you were going to do that steak, the 1.25 inch, if you're going to do that one by itself, you could time it so that you could put a nice sear on it and achieve that crust. Now, my guess is that 1/2 inch probably just isn't going to be quite where we want it to be.
Clearly
as far as
overcooked.
that medium rare. I mean, it's pretty close, but they're just, it's hard to achieve, like Scott mentioned. It's great steak.
That's not the same experience as that thick one, though.
No.
Practicality, right? 20 minutes to cook that big thick steak. Although it is fun. I mean, it's fun. You, like Seth mentioned, you get it. You can get that incredible char on the outside of it.
Here's something we're gonna do real quick. Hold on a second.
The spinalis.
Oh yeah, I've got to.
With that char on there.
I can't. Get yourself a bite there.
Oh,
I can't not do this.
I feel so bad for you folks at home that I mean,
What about everybody that's watching?
What is spinalis?
In
Is
our
that the
group.
rib cap?
Wow.
meat over a fire. We prefer if it's a wood fire with those Bearded Butcher Blend spices on there. I mean, it's just perfection.
Make a puppy pull a freight train. Is that what they say?
Oh, wow.
All right.
So what are we thinking in terms of,
Well,
know, which one you picking?
I keep going to that 2-inch thick steak, and I know 1.25 inch is my favorite, but I think it's because you were able to achieve a better char. And like I said, you could do that if you were just cooking.
It's fun. It's just not as practical, and it's certainly not as common.
They're all
Yeah, if we were
amazing.
giving these points, I would say my favorite is that 2 inch or 1.5 inch, just from like the crust, the experience, the juiciness, the tenderness.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right. I know when I was cutting these, I said my favorite steak is 1.25 inches. I'm going to stick to that. Just, you know, every day, not every day you make a steak, but when you make a steak, that's the one I'm going to grab.
Forgot Charlie.
Oh,
You know, spinalis is the rib cap like he was talking about. And this practicality thing seems to come into play more for people who don't live on meat. I mean, I only eat meat. So for me, practical is having a steak that's at least 1 pound, but preferably 2 pounds, because then now that my wife is doing carnivore, it's a lot easier for us to split one and have a pound each and have our 2 meals a day. So, and the key thing you want to do when you're on a carnivore diet is make sure you're not under eating. It's very easy for people to get used to the idea of ordering a 4 ounce or a 6 ounce filet or getting even an 8 ounce sirloin or something like that at a steakhouse. This steak that I just finished cooking was right at 32 ounces. So it gives me exactly what I need for my wife and myself, or myself alone if I'm having OMAD like I'm having today, because I am ready to eat and I am looking forward to having the rest of this. But I'll be making her something here later too. So this is what he's talking about when he's talking about practicality, because most people are cooking their steaks and having all these other sides and things with them. Well, we're not doing that on a carnivore diet. So make sure you're eating enough.
Charlie. There you go. There you go, buddy. But I think for this specific cook, that 2-inch steak, I'm not going anywhere near a steak at a 1/2 inch. No, sorry. Pretty hard to beat.
So yeah, drop a comment. What's your...
I'll eat it. I'll eat the 1/2 inch steak. I just won't want to cook them that way. That's for sure. I would much rather them come out nice and thick and juicy like this, because I mean, just look at how that cooks up. You can see the inside is nice and pink. The outside is nice and dark. And again, the camera is not doing this justice at all. This is a great medium rare, and it just comes out perfect. But like he was saying, let me know in the comments, how do you like to have your steak cut? What's the thickness that works best for you? Because sometimes it's different for different people. And I don't want to say that my way is the right way. My way is not the right way on everything. But I can tell you, if you've been having gut issues, if you've been having autoimmune issues, and if you've been having obesity issues, carnivore diet has been working miracles for people around the globe, and you could be the next one. So if you haven't seen a video like this before, I hope you'll take into mind how much health benefits there are. My blood work looks great. My doctors are amazed. It's truly miraculous what carnivore diet has done for me. And I'm glad you guys joined me for this, because it was nice to know that I've been cooking them right all along, even though I'm a novice at cooking in general. Even though I've been doing this for 4 years, I didn't watch anybody teach me how to do it. I just kind of learned as I went and figured it out. So it's kind of nice. It's, oh man, I can't wait to eat this steak. Anyway, guys, I don't want to make you jealous sitting here watching me eat this after we just got jealous watching them eat that. You guys enjoy your steak, and I will see you guys next time.
If we pay extra, could we maybe get some grease or fat?